Shalom, family. Good to see everyone here. I hope you're all doing well. Ladies and gentlemen, the word is out. Anybody that's on Snap, you are not getting your payment. And we know who it's impacting the worst. Okay. One thing, Donald Trump is going to blow the lid off of the lies that have been told up in here. Like our people are the main ones on welfare, which has been the biggest lie told the entire time up in here. And it's going to show you who's really getting these food stamps. Now, November 1st will be the first time nobody will get money loaded onto their EBT cards. So you're going to see who's going to be crying the most. Just keep your eyes on everything, y'all, because this will make a difference and it will finally shut up all this black people in welfare, which, we know they're just projecting because this is what they have done. Remember, welfare, food stamps, Section 8, none of that was made for us. And when welfare first came on the scene, Jim Crow was going on. You know darn well this government wasn't doing anything for us during those times. They ain't doing nothing for us now. But it's going to get interesting up in here. You know, we all got to get in survivor mode. Now, those of you that may be short, try to hit up your food banks as much as you can in your area. Find where all of them are nearby and try to get your butt over there. I know there's one not far from me at a church. They have a food bank. Y'all, over the years, I have seen that line go further and further down the road. It's like every Wednesday they give out food and they usually get it from local supermarkets, donate so much food to this church. And you can tell times are bad because if I go around there, the line of people waiting to get in there to get food is longer than I have ever seen in my life. And even just 5 years ago, you did not see that. But now, every Wednesday, you can see that line wrapping around, people trying to get to that church to get food. And I can imagine now if people don't get their food stamps, because they're already warning people, and they're even telling people not to even call and scream at the workers because it's not their fault. The government did not fund it. Remember, the budget office is closed. So they're letting people know, don't call and try to harass the workers there because they can't really do nothing about it. They don't control the money. So this is going to get interesting. I guess if you got friends or family that you're close to and they're on assistance, I guess we're all just going to have to do the best we can to help them out, you know? But one thing it will do, it'll help us be a real community again, like we were once before, people looking out for each other. And actually, I think that's the best thing for us in these final times. And we keep other people out of whatever we got going on. And look, I have an arrow garden and I grow things indoors even during the fall and winter months. If you can do that, get one. If you can splurge and get one for maybe 40, 50, $60, get it. I don't care if you can't grow nothing but a tomato, grow that. Or you can grow some lettuce and make your own salad from lettuce you grow. Just get it, you know? And consider getting a garden this year. Even if you're in an apartment on a balcony, you can put some fruits and, some vegetables and stuff out on your balcony. Now we are going to have to consider those things. So, y'all, let's get to it. Let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. All right, y'all. Please give me a one if you can see my screen. And, Donald Trump has made cuts to SNAP. These Republicans are trying to get everybody off of everything now anyway. Section 8, Medicaid, SNAP, they want to push everybody off of this stuff. So maybe this is the time for everybody to make that move and try to do things for ourselves. Thank you, everybody.
SNAP benefits will not be issued for the month of November. If you're new here, my name is Crystal. I'm a social worker and a caseworker. I have been working in the social service field for over 10 years. I also worked at the SNAP Welfare Food Stamp Office for over 6 years. I have processed hundreds of SNAP cases, and in this video, I will explain to you what's happening with November SNAP benefits. Due to the government shutdown, many states are now sending out notifications stating that they do not have the funds to issue SNAP benefits for the month of November. The federal government has already informed all states that it will not fund November's benefits. And since the funding for SNAP comes from the federal government, the states literally have no money to pay out. Some states are outright saying that they will not issue November's benefits, and some states have not confirmed it yet. I'll just tell you, if you receive SNAP benefits, please be careful on how you spend October's benefits because there will be no more SNAP issued until this shutdown ends. I have some resources to help you find food pantries if you need it, linked in my bio. All you have to do is click the link, put in your zip code, and it will show you a list of food pantries near you. If you have any questions about this, feel free to let me know, and I hope this helped.
On SNAP or knows who's somebody who's on SNAP food stamps, I need you to hear this. Because of the government shutdown, your SNAP benefits could be halted for November. That's not me saying it, that is states saying it. Colorado, Illinois, Minnesota, New York, Pennsylvania, Texas, and West Virginia have all released some sort of statement saying that in November, these benefits could be halted because of the government shutdown. Which, by the way, as of today, is still going on and is expected to be the second longest in history, first longest being 35 days. Really important to note is that the Secretary of Agriculture himself has said going to run out of money in 2 weeks. He said this on Thursday. Again, for context, for those who don't know, SNAP puts people below the poverty line for groceries. Now, some good news, the fact that there is some reserve funding to help the agency tap into some benefits. That is at only around $6 billion. To fund the entire program for everybody in the United States would require $8 billion. Obviously, a $2 billion difference making this challenging. Be sure to share this with other people, the follow button, because I'll keep you updated on this story and how local communities can be affected.
You want to know what's crazy? Now we see who need them motherfucking stamps. Well, now we see who really down bad and shit, who really need them more than us, huh?
The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, nearly 500,000 people in Philadelphia alone depend on SNAP every month to put food on the table. Now, based on previous shutdowns, SNAP recipients will receive payments for the first month. But if the shutdown lasts longer than 30 days, we could see delayed payments or states forced to step in with contingency plans. Now, the impact could even come even sooner for families using WIC benefits. That's the program for women, infants, and children, which provides food and baby formula. And in Pennsylvania, WIC is almost completely funded by the federal government.
But for WIC, the difficulty here is when there's a threat of a government shutdown, or as in the case a handful of years ago, the federal government did shut down for about 35 days. We do see that is going to have an impact to programs.
Experts say for now, families should continue to use their benefits as usual.
The State Department of Human Services says SNAP recipients will not receive the SNAP benefits that were supposed to be doled out to them in November. Of course, this is a big deal, right? Especially with the government shutdown that doesn't appear to be ending anytime soon. The state DHS says SNAP benefits will not be paid until the federal government shutdown ends and when funds are doled out again to the state. This is retroactive to October 16th at this point. It is a big deal. We have 2 counties in our region that are among the highest in our state when it comes to percentage of residents receiving SNAP benefits. Fayette County has the 2nd highest in the state behind Philadelphia County, and the state's DHS website has Greene County at 6th highest in Pennsylvania as well. That just goes to show you the impacts this is going to have here in our area alone. Just know that if you need immediate food assistance, you are urged to call 211, and you could also visit Feeding Pennsylvania at feedingpa.org. You could also go to panavigate.org as well. By the way, that 211 line has had a little over 3,300 calls to it so far this month in southwestern Pennsylvania. Over 54,000 calls have been made to it this year in our region. Now, as people are waiting to see when this government shutdown will end, the state DHS says it will notify people properly when it comes to those SNAP benefits coming back online again and when they can expect those payments.
Department of Agriculture says it will not fund the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program known as SNAP if the government shutdown extends into November.
Now, this would impact about 42 million people across the country who rely on SNAP benefits to buy food. The USDA sent a letter to state agencies last week saying there would not be enough funding to pay for the entirety of November's benefits. It also told states not to send certain files to the contractors that load those EBT cards that people on SNAP use. A budget agreement that reopens the government would also restore SNAP funding. But the shutdown continues now into its 3rd week with negotiations at a standstill.
And this government shutdown is not ending anytime soon.
Y'all need to get y'all's families together and have a big family meeting about how the holidays is motherfucking canceled. Yeah, cancel all of this shit. Everything is canceled, okay? Don't go out there buying all of these gifts, all of these presents. Don't go out there buying all of this. Furthermore, you need to start cutting down on your spending and stop buying unnecessary stuff. Okay? Because the only way we're going to affect these people is to hit their pockets. They don't give a damn about us. All right? They done suspended SNAP benefits for the month of November. They said, hey, states, we ain't got it. How you ain't got it? How you ain't got it? But you're sending money to other countries. You're sending money to other countries and you're funding their food. You're funding their health insurance. Meanwhile, the government is shut down about an argument about health insurance and about other things that Americans need. But you're sending my money to another country. Shut the shit down. And before y'all get in my comments trying to talk shit, shut up. Okay? Oh, she's just mad because she's not receiving her food stamps this month. Baby, I don't even receive food stamps, but I have before. I'm not mad that I'm me personally not receiving food stamps. I'm mad about the direction America is going in. I'm mad for the people that's not receiving food stamps this month and that really need it. I'm mad that they cancel food stamps on the month where everybody gets together and spends the most on food, Thanksgiving. I'm mad about that when they know people need food. People that are really struggling are going to go without food. Homeless people are going to go without food. There are people that are going to be in the month of November starving. Food banks was already packed and already full. They're going to be even more packed than ever. And as a matter of fact, if you have the means and you feel like, oh, I haven't been affected yet, go ahead and give. Instead of spending money on bullshit this year, how about you go ahead and give to your local food banks? Go give some food. Go give some time. Go give some energy and help out. Because if it's affecting one, it can affect all. We're all going to be affected by this eventually. And it's no coincidence that they canceling food stamps this month. He wants us to go out and riot so bad so he can declare martial law. Y'all should be very upset. And if y'all can't get on one accord and stop buying shit up at the very least, baby, we're already done. We're doomed. We're done. Shut it down. Only buy necessities. Yeah, holidays is canceled. Don't go out there buying your kids $1,000 worth of gifts. Sit your kids down and have a conversation. It'll be okay. Let them know. We're fighting right now, sweetie. We are fighting. Your kids will understand. Let them know you're fighting for their future, because right now it's not looking like they're going to have much of one. They'll understand. They'll get with the program. They'll adapt. They'll adjust. It'll be okay. You got to hit their pockets. You got to hit them where it hurts. They're not going to listen until you affect their money, affect their wallet. Since they want to take money out the government, and a lot of these big corporations, big businesses are the ones that's funding it, stop spending money. Yeah, holidays is canceled. Next 4 years, stop buying shit up. They don't give a damn about us. Stop buying shit up. Baby, don't go out there buying up all that shit. Sit the fuck down. Next 4 years, we sitting the fuck down.
Shit's gonna hit the fan in about 2 weeks when food stamps run out of money. That's right. SNAP benefits are going to go broke in about 2 weeks from now if this government shutdown continues. And that means mothers, fathers, children, people will be going without food, and there will be imagery coming out showing kids going hungry in the United States of America. It's unbelievable that we are at this point now. But the Department of Agriculture has said that this is likely to happen. They're exploring options. They're looking to see if they can collect money from customs duties that have come in. That's a possibility to maybe extend it a little longer. There are roughly 42 million Americans currently receiving SNAP benefits that could lose them. But the bottom line is we got to get the government reopened and get these programs funded. And the Republicans need to come back to the table to do so. When we start seeing children in food bank lines and children going hungry, that's not going to be a good look for them, because they are not at work. They're getting paid and not doing their job. Mike Johnson refuses to bring them back into session to even talk with Democrats to try and work out a resolution. I don't know how we're going to get out of this without them coming back and that happening. It has to happen. It is their job. That's what they have to do. This is not governance. It's malfeasance on the side of the Republicans. Plain and simple. Let me know if you agree. Comment what you think. Like, share, spread the word, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
Hey everybody. I work for state government at my local state capital, and I got an email with an update from FSD that let us know that it is 100% true and it is happening. The federal government has been instructed and have instructed the states to not supply any funds for food stamps or SNAP benefits for the entire month of November. Being able to communicate with the federal folks is difficult right now due to the shutdown, so there are a lot of details that even the state governments don't know. I got a letter, or an email. Who sends letters? I got an email from the director, the FSD director's office, and it literally said, "We're doing our best. You know as much as we do." But I wanted to really, I want to get on my soapbox and talk about the evils of politicians and money-hungry jerks and capitalism and all that stuff. But rather than do that, I thought it might be more helpful to let people know what they can do to help. These are your friends and neighbors. Almost everyone on food stamps that is not disabled or for other reasons unable to work, mental illness or mental capacity or because they're the elderly, whatever. If they don't meet those exemptions, most of the time we're giving that money and those benefits to the working poor, okay? These are your friends, these are your neighbors. This is the lady that checks you out at the grocery store. This is your elderly neighbor that lives next door. This is the guy at the gas station who you see every morning and banter with. These are our friends and neighbors, okay? First things first is that we all need to reach out to our senators and representatives at the federal level. I don't think it would hurt to reach out to them at the state level and say, what are you going to do? How are you going to help Missourians or Texans or, Virginians? How are you going to help them recover? How are you going to help them afford their food? But definitely focus on trying to reach out to the senators and state representatives in our federal government. Next thing is, if you are someone who are losing your food stamp benefits for the month of November, first of all, I'm disgusted that it's happening to you, and I'm really, really sorry. And if there was something more that I could do in my position, I would do it. But what I want you guys to also know is that if you call to ask questions, please be nice to the state employees. The people at that call center don't make a lot of money. A lot of them are actually probably on state benefits as well. You just need to be nice to them. You don't know what else they have going on at home. You don't know whether or not they lost their SNAP benefits. And the truth is, these are just people. They're just people trying to do their job. And the fact that the federal government has cut off funds has nothing to do with Lacey, who works at the call center for DSS or FSD regarding SNAP benefits. It has nothing to do with them. So please remember to be nice. The other things that I think are really important is we need to focus on helping each other. So first of all, food pantries and food banks, volunteer and donate. November's already a really busy month for food pantries. I worked at one at a nonprofit. It's a really busy month because everybody's gearing up for Thanksgiving. There's a lot of families that are not going to have Thanksgiving this year because of not having food stamp money. Or there's a lot of people who are going to sacrifice eating the rest of the month so that they can provide their Thanksgiving meal. Okay, so we need to keep food pantries stocked. There's going to be even more people coming to them. There's going to be even more need. Volunteer to help get that stuff out, to these people's vehicles and stuff to try to keep keep the chaos down. But also donate. Donate money if you can. Okay, that goes a lot further than a can of green beans. If you can donate money, even just a few dollars, that goes a long, long way. But if you're going to donate food, keep in mind that September was Hunger Action Month. And so like all the food pantries do some kind of event to do a big food drive. Find out from your local pantry what it is that they need. Chances are from Hunger Action Month, they've got so much canned food, they don't know what to do with it. Do they need boxed food? Do they have a freezer big enough that they can store a ham or a turkey that you buy so you can provide someone's Thanksgiving? Are they big enough that if you brought in a big box of frozen green beans or frozen corn that it would actually be able to get passed out and stored? Find out what they need, because right now they may not need canned goods. So definitely work on finding that out and helping them to stay stocked, because this is going to be really rough for them as well. Also reach out to your family and your friends and your neighbors who are on SNAP benefits. Probably all of us have at least one or two family members, the average person does, that are on SNAP benefits. And if you can, help them with groceries. Help them buy their groceries just for the month of November. Even if it's only a few dollars, do what you can to help. If you're unable to help, do not put yourself in debt and take food off of your table, but do help where you can. Try also inviting them to dinner and saying, hey, how about you come over to dinner 3 nights a week and we'll send you home with the leftovers. Try to incorporate the disabled old man next door or your great Aunt Lizzie or whoever. Try to incorporate them into dinners and meals as often as you possibly can. I also highly recommend you check in with soup kitchens and other benevolent groups, churches and nonprofits, and find out what else you can be doing. They may need volunteers for soup kitchens. Some of these places might decide to do the soup kitchen 5 days a week instead of just 3 days a week due to the shutdown. Find out what they need and see what you can do to meet that need. As important as it is to, acknowledge the fact that our politicians are failing us and that they are not doing what they should be doing, and they are not providing for the people that they were sworn in to provide for and to help and to improve their lives. They're not doing that. And as angry as we can all be about that, we also need to remember that being angry at people in Washington, D.C. doesn't fix the hunger that's right there on your street, in your apartment building, in your home, next door. It doesn't help. So do those things. Reach out to your senators and representatives. Be nice to state employees if you do have to talk to them, and go out of your way to help each other. Food pantries, family, neighbors, and friends, invite them over for dinner, help them with groceries, and check in with soup kitchens and places like that. I just wanted to make sure that we all stayed focused on the right thing. Let me know if you have any questions.
420,000 New Mexicans rely on those SNAP benefits. Today, state leaders discussed the important impacts of taking care of those people if funding from the federal government does not come on time.
We are prepared to, if the shutdown comes to an end in the next couple of weeks, really act quickly and make sure that folks get those benefits as timely as possible. As of right now, it's looking like those benefits will be delayed.
The New Mexico Healthcare Authority says the U.S. Department of Agriculture will not issue funding for SNAP benefits at the beginning of November if the shutdown continues. Today, Cabinet Secretary Carrie Armijo spoke to lawmakers about the potential effects. She says retailers like grocery stores, farmers markets, and convenience stores would not be able to accept EBT cards if this happens. The Healthcare Authority says the USDA would be authorized as many as 1,700 retailers across New Mexico. State Senator Michael Padilla pointed out during the meeting that the economy could be impacted.
It's one thing, absolutely want to make sure that food and nutrition gets to our folks that badly need it, but also there are other individuals that are going to be affected by this as well. So I think we should be aware of that.
The state's HCA says in November they estimated $90 million in SNAP benefits would be on a potential hold. Secretary Armijo says they are working with other agencies to find alternate options of food and also partnering with food banks. Now, earlier this month, lawmakers approved a bill that would provide $8 million to 5 major food banks in New Mexico. And the Healthcare Authority says they are looking to expedite those funds at this time.
Okay, it's day 21 of the government shutdown. Let's see how America is doing.
All right, so SNAP is going away in November. There's no more money.
Oh shit, that's not good. Isn't like 70% of white Americans on SNAP benefits? That accounts for like 42 million people. So what are you all gonna do about November, especially Thanksgiving?
All
So what
I'm
are we
going
doing?
to say
Are we voting?
is
Are we protesting again? What
if
should
you
we do?
see somebody grabbing up some food, trying to run away with it, no, you didn't. You didn't see shit. If you see somebody desperately trying to get food, you did not see a damn thing. You were paying attention to your children. You got focused on the products that you were browsing. You have a hard time hearing. I'm deaf in my left ear. I can't hear very well, especially directional hearing. My directional hearing is bad. Or maybe you're having some temporary blurry vision. You didn't see shit. You saw nothing.
So let me get this straight. The party that prides themselves on traditional Christian values, who voted for Donald Trump and was praising and cheering when the big beautiful bill was passed by the House, is now suggesting on stealing groceries or whatever they need to get by for November and December because SNAP benefits are dried up due to the government shutdown. How very Christian of you to steal. Isn't it literally the 8th commandment that states, thou shalt not steal? So how are you going to go to church, let alone approach Christ, your Lord and Savior, knowing that you went ahead and voted for Donald Trump and this is what you got, this is what you voted for, yet now you decide that it's okay to steal from grocery stores? I don't know, maybe it's just me, a libtard, right? Who doesn't have traditional Christian evangelical values like you do, but I would suggest not throwing away my eternal salvation in the kingdom of heaven to steal for things that I could have possibly voted better on. But hey, you go do you, boo. Go ahead and steal from the grocery stores and go ahead and continue to support the Republican Party. Next time I see you put something in your pocket without paying, I will go ahead and call the police.
New trend, guys. During the month of November, what we're now calling No Snap November, let me give you a backstory. The federal government is shut down, and therefore SNAP benefits is not going to be paying their recipients. They're not going to be paying them. So therefore, they're calling it No Snap November. So I'm creating a new trend. First of all, if you see somebody stealing, no, you didn't. If you see somebody stealing food because they're hungry or homeless, you didn't see that. Your vision is bad and your mind's playing tricks on you, okay? Number two, but here's the new trend. If you see somebody that's dying of hunger and they have family members and they can't afford to pay for their food and they're resorting to stealing, pay for their meal. See, Jesus said, take all that you have, sell it, and give it all to the poor. If you have enough to pay for your way of lifestyle and you have far more than you need, then you need to do the right thing by your people. Because what you do to the least of them, you do unto me, is what he said. So love your neighbor. And during No Snap November, during Thanksgiving, feed them. Feed them. It'll go a long way. And maybe you'll change the hearts and minds of a few people on the way.
Good morning. Good morning. Let's get into the government shutdown status. Today is October 17, 2025, and let's talk about SNAP and let's talk about WIC. These topics are trending, so let's get into it. So the federal government shutdown, we are now in day 17, making it the third longest shutdown in U.S. history. The Senate has failed 10 times to pass a funding bill. The next vote is scheduled for Monday, October 20th. The House has been out of session since September 19th and has no plans to return until the shutdown ends. Essential federal workers like military and law enforcement are still working but are not being paid until the shutdown ends. That has to suck. Let's get into SNAP benefits, New York and nationwide. October SNAP benefits are still being issued as normal in New York and other states. However, November SNAP benefits are at risk. The USDA warned that there will be not enough funding to pay full November benefits if the shutdown continues. New York State was told to halt November SNAP payments unless federal funding is restored. Nearly 3 million New Yorkers could lose access to food assistance starting November 1st. Governor Kathy Hochul commended the federal directive, calling it cruel and politically motivated punishment. Let's get into WIC benefits, New York and state and nationwide. WIC is still operating, but funding is extremely limited. The Trump administration provided a $300 million emergency infusion using tariff revenue to keep WIC running through October. More than 400,000 New Yorkers rely on WIC and benefits and could run out in early November if Congress does not act. Local WIC agencies are relocating leftover funds and using contingency reserves, but staff salaries and operations are strained. So what can you do? SNAP recipients and SNAP recipients in New York should continue using their EBT cards and complete any required recertifications that come along. WIC participants should attend scheduled appointments and use benefits while they're still available. If you are worried about food access, call 211 or visit your local food pantries for emergency support, or 311, 211 for New Jersey, 311 for New York City. So this is what is going on. We need to all so this is what's happening. We are running out of time. November is 2 weeks away and we are still flip-flopping. We don't know what's happening. Are we going to come to an agreement? Are the Democrats and the Republicans going to just hash this out and think about the people, the 463 million people that are going to go without? So this is your daily dose of the update of what is happening with the government shutdown. Share, repost. Thank you.
Hey, so in case you're wondering, the government shutdown, which is now 15 days in, is the reason that SNAP benefits are going to go away come November because Republicans are not even in Washington, D.C. to negotiate with Democrats, let alone reopen the fucking government. Speaker Mike Johnson keeps giving Republicans like the fucking week off. And not for nothing, they're still getting paid during the shutdown. We're still paying for them to like do their jobs when they're not actually doing their jobs. We also are continuing to pay for their health care when like they want to take away Americans' health cares, but now they also want to take away SNAP benefits, which is insane. Also, like, people are going to starve in the month that, like, you're supposed to give thanks and, like, help others. And I don't know, it's like the start of, like, the biggest food purchasing of the entire fucking year, and we're going to take away SNAP benefits from everyone. So, in case you're wondering, like, we're day 15 of this shutdown. The whole point was for them to shut down the fucking government and for it to not restart. Like, that's in Project 2025, and I hope that you fucking read Project 2025, because we're about 75% of the way through it. But yeah, this isn't a Democrat thing. Republicans are not even in Washington, D.C. to negotiate, let alone restart the government. This is a Project 2025 thing, and Republicans are falling in line. Have a good day.
We're looking at the robin season of all robin seasons, and that's extremely important to be aware of. So they're talking about not paying out food stamp benefits in November, right on time for Thanksgiving and the holiday season. The show Atlanta breaks down the concept of robbing season as the time of year where proximity and resource-related crimes like armed robbery and theft may see an uptick. There's a few reasons for it. I look at it as an outcome of late-stage capitalism. We live in a world that's getting more expensive to live in by the day, and the people in charge keep figuring out ways to pay you less dollars and make those dollars you do get paid worth less. And in America, we have a brand of racism that almost guarantees these outcomes are reflected in communities of color. It's why the joke made sense in the context of the show. But unlike the systemic racism of yesterday that, with the use of policies based on redlining, was targeted at communities of color, the fascism of today doesn't see color. Them withholding SNAP benefits will disproportionately affect his base. The largest portion of his voting base is white people who have not been to college. The largest recipient of SNAP benefits is white people who did not go to college. There's a Venn diagram of people who voted for this and people who quite literally will have a zeroed out or heavily slashed food budget going into Thanksgiving and Christmas that can't be ignored. It's something to prepare for. If you have extra, if you live in a community that's well off, now's the time to start working with that food bank across the railroad tracks, because if they go through with this, it will be felt nationwide. 22 million Americans are looking at going from, X amount per person for food in the household to $0. And if we just think about society, the main reinforcer to following the rules is the stability that those rules provide. You take away the incentive for people to follow those rules when those rules no longer guarantee stability. To put it in a historical context, a lot of people could not afford to evacuate New Orleans when Katrina happened. It was a city with a strong public transportation ridership, especially among those at or around the poverty line. So when the levees failed and everything was flooded, and those weeks to months of actual military operations to get people rescued, they were going into the closed grocery stores and getting food to survive. Media outlets demonized those people as thieves and looters as if they were supposed to leave money on the counter or swipe a card during a blackout in a natural disaster situation. Walking out with a cart you didn't pay for is a crime. But in that situation, where the government and the lawmakers are weeks away from getting you, you're left with the choice of surviving illegally or dying to follow the law. And that was just a city. The amount of families in that 22 million people across the nation that are going to be at $0 for food are being asked to make a similar choice. Thankfully, not in the context of a natural disaster, but at a way larger scale than just the poorest groups from one city or area. And there are people in every single group that are going to be affected.
Y'all, let me tell y'all something. SNAP is about to get really real. Go ahead and stop. Pause your scroll, because you're going to want to hear this today. Yeah, y'all, millions of Americans are going to wake up November 1st and SNAP is going to be gone. That means no groceries. I told y'all, cancel all the shit, okay? Because the shutdowns that happen are affecting American people on American soil. I said that. So let me give you the tea. The tea is this. SNAP, okay? Food help program that helps many families, okay? That families rely on for a food source. Okay, the last one was October. Okay, that's it. The federal government shut down, literally, and it's still going to continue. All right, and get this: about 42 million people across the U.S. could see their benefits cut or delayed come November. Y'all knew it was coming. As I told y'all before, they started with the health care. But y'all didn't want to hear it. Ain't nobody saying nothing to me about it. No comments, okay? Some states, okay, are already freezing new applications. Why? Because Congress has passed a budget to keep the funding, what? Flowing? What? SNAP is discretionary program. Okay. If they don't appropriate money, benefits stop. This is personal. I told y'all this ain't just political. This is personal. So if you're working with a tight budget already, if you're a parent, a caregiver like me, and you know someone who is, this could be real, okay? And hold on, when people can't buy food, it doesn't just impact their household. It also is going to impact the what? The stores, the local economy, and the community. So here,
I just want to chime in, y'all. It's far worse than what any of these folks are saying on the video. And the reason why I'm saying that is Donald Trump has laid people off. So now you got all these laid off federal workers on top of people not getting benefits for food. So you got people with no income now, no income, on top of people that depended on food stamps. So it is far worse than what any of these folks are saying on these videos, because they're only exclusively focused on SNAP benefits, but they're not focused on all the layoffs that are going on and the ones that Donald Trump is doing to federal workers that are furloughed. So you got people with no income now on top of people not getting SNAP benefits. Yeah, it's going to get dangerous out here. When people are desperate, they're going to do things they normally would not do. But let's go on.
here's what I'm asking y'all to do, okay? We're not going to sit silently, and we are going to clap back because, baby, I'm Gen X. I'm not standing for the bullshit, okay? So what you need to do, okay, if you know anybody that is on it, send them this video. I want you to go ahead and comment, okay, so I know who been watching the video. And I want y'all to make some noise. Now, I know Representative Shutdown is just shut down, okay? And I mean, make some noise in your community. And if you could help, why not? This is your opportunity. Go ahead and take center stage, because we don't know what November, December going to look like in 2025, according to all the statistics that are still being calculated, because ain't nobody there. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Funding for SNAP is set to expire at the end of October. If the government shutdown continues into November, recipients of SNAP will not receive benefits for the month of November, and they will not receive benefits until the government reopens. This will impact around 440,000 Minnesotans, most of them children. 87 counties and tribal leaders were notified earlier this week from the USDA about the lapse in funding. They were also directed to delay transmission to state EBT vendors until further notice. Now, starting today, October 16th, counties have also been directed to not approve or take on any new SNAP applications. If the government is still shut down on October 21st, the USDA recommended that states tell recipients and warn them that there is a possibility that they will not receive benefits in November. The government shutdown is still in progress. October 31st, states have been directed to tell recipients that they will not receive funding for November. If you're a numbers person like me, the way we can look at it is, if we look at Faribault County, 1,352 people use SNAP, with 479 of them being children. Now, this just doesn't impact SNAP recipients. Here in Minnesota, we have the Minnesota Family Investment Program, which provides cash, food assistance, daycare assistance, as well as help with housing and job searching. If the shutdown continues into November, the Minnesota Family Investment Program will not have the resources or the funds to be able to continue the program, specifically when it comes to cash assistance, as well as childcare assistance. Now, here in Minnesota, we do have funds set aside for WIC recipients. They too would be impacted by the government shutdown if it continued into November, but because we have those funds set aside, they can fully fund WIC for several weeks if the government shutdown continues through November. And just to end this video, the Senate, the House, and the presidency are all controlled by Republicans. Yes, there needs to be 60 votes, but that is part of their job as politicians, is to come to the table, to compromise, to negotiate, to get something that benefits all Americans. It is a blatant lie that they are telling their constituents that Medicaid is used for undocumented immigrants. It is not. That is not what the Democrats are trying to do. The Democrats do not want Medicaid premiums to skyrocket. Do your research. Do your research.
I'm gonna ask y'all for a favor. Over the next few months, if there's stuff that happens with SNAP due to the government shutdown, I want you to not call your local DSS office and yell at, cry at, or fuss at the receptionists, the caseworkers, the supervisors, anybody at your local county office, because they can't do shit about it. I want you to look up who your local senator and congressperson are and call them. Our legislators are the ones in control right now, and they work for us, and they need to listen. So when you have a problem with anything that happens, please do not call and yell at the receptionist at the local office. These congressmen, just because they wear a suit half the time, does not make them any more difficult to yell at. You go ahead and you call and you talk to them. That's where your frustration needs to be directed, not at your local agency. There are times I'll tell you to call your local agency. This ain't one of them. I hope y'all have a good day. And when I get more information about that, about this whole shutdown thing, I will let you know. I just don't want to spread misinformation, and I don't want to spread information that's going to cause people to panic unnecessarily. So when I learn more from an official source, I will let y'all know.
Did you guys realize that there's so many people talking about the food stamp cut that's going on, as far as like people not getting their food stamps for the month of November? But what I'm gonna say is probably not going to benefit you or change the narrative of what's going on for the month of November. But what I am going to say is, did you guys realize that around the first of the month, when the majority of people get their food stamps around the first of the month, not everybody, some people get them like on the 3rd, the 15th, it all depends. I don't know if it goes by your last name or what, but majority, if not all of these grocery stores around the U.S., they depend on those billions of dollars worth of food stamps to come in every single month. They prep for it every month at their grocery store.
You know what he's saying, I was reading last night, y'all. He's right. There are supermarkets, depending on where they're located, a lot of their customers are EBT card holders. So if you are in a certain area that's low income, those supermarkets, most of their revenue comes from EBT. So when that's gone, some of them are ultimately going to have to file bankruptcy because they're not going to have those same customers. So what he's saying is absolutely correct. There are, especially businesses that have in the window, oh, we accept EBT. Usually they have a lot of those kind of customers coming into their stores. So it's going to trickle down to these stores, and they're not going to have the revenue that they normally get on a monthly basis. So, you know, around here, you know, there are like small businesses that will have we accept EBT, And then, of course, you got the supermarkets that it's a mixed bag of people going in there. So they may not be quite as badly as affected. But some of these businesses, yeah, they going to feel the pain. And I also want to say this to my brothers and sisters. If you're ordering food, I don't care if it's just a pizza. In fact, we had a pizza a few nights ago. Get that stuff off the porch, because when people get desperate, if they can spot food on your front porch, you may not see it by the time you get to your door. So if you are ordering food or having food delivery, make sure you're at the door the moment that food is delivered, because as things get desperate, people are going to do whatever they got to do, even if that means stealing from your front porch. So y'all be on the lookout. If you're in an apartment building and somebody is leaving something like a pizza at your door, you better be right there to grab it, because it's about to get that bad up in here. I'm just trying to let you know. So let's go on.
That's why when you go into a store around the first of the month, you see fresh grapes. Everything looks so fresh and pretty, because they know that it's going to leave those shelves quick. You guys realize, even if it's just the month of November and people don't get their food stamps, do you know how bad that's going to hurt the grocery stores? All those turkeys that's coming from all those farms that's going to sit there, millions of turkeys. They're going to have to get that stuff away. They can't let it just sit there and spoil. All that meat that sits there, guys, they have to mark that meat down and give it to you and sell it to you for discounted prices. Only people with cash is going to be able to afford that food. You guys realize how bad it's going to hurt the meat producers, the butchers, the farmers, the people who produce the vegetables and everything. So this is way bigger than you guys think. A lot of people is thinking, well, Thanksgiving's going to be bad. It could be bad if people don't get their food stamps because they're dependent on it. But just think about how big of a freaking disaster it's going to be on our economy, man. All it's going to take is just 1 month of people not getting their food stamps, and watch what happens in those grocery stores. Those meat prices is going to drop. Those vegetable prices is going to drop. Those fruit prices is going to drop. They're not going to throw that stuff in the trash can, guys. Not when they can at least make something off of it. But you guys leave me your comments on this topic. I'm just really curious. I think the grocery stores are going to suffer just as much as the people who are not getting their SNAP benefits for the month of November. Thanks for watching.
Y'all know what? This is straight complete bullshit. Now, why the fuck they taking away SNAP benefits in November? From everybody. Even people that are disabled. I'm on disability. I ain't got no toes on my right foot. I used to work. I can't work no more. So, how the fuck I supposed to eat? It's bad enough half of my fucking check go on bills and rent. Nigga always broke every fucking month. Every time I nigga get the check, every time I get my disability check, pay bills and rent, then I'm back broke again. How the fuck I supposed to eat? How? I'm disabled. I can't work. Like, how the fuck y'all just take the SNAP benefits away from a disabled person? What's up with this government shutdown shit, bro? I don't know what the fuck going on. Somebody need to tell me something, you heard me? Let me know in the comment section, because I don't know what the fuck even going on. I think this is some straight bullshit. This is some fucking bullshit.
Funding for SNAP benefits in Virginia could run out as soon as November if the government shutdown continues, which could affect many local families. SNAP is often the first line of defense for those struggling to put food on the table, but due to the government shutdown, that lack of funding could halt SNAP for thousands. According to Feeding Southwest Virginia, there are about 176,000 people who are food insecure in Southwest Virginia. The food bank is planning emergency response to help where it's needed most. They're also urging elected officials to act now to keep SNAP funding going. For more information on how to help or get help with food insecurity, head to WSLS.com.
So a lot of people are worried about their SNAP benefits not being available to them in the month of November and possibly into the month of December. And there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of chatter on TikTok right now. You can go look for yourself, where people are talking about, well, if I don't got my food stamps, we're just gonna go steal. and there's nothing you could do about it. You remember what happened during the pandemic when the stores started getting overrun? And then they started.
All right, y'all. I hope you can hear me now. Y'all, even putting groceries in your vehicles, your car, your SUV, make sure you do it as quickly as you can and get the hell out of there. Because let me tell you, there have been incidents even before this shutdown. People had been robbed out in the parking lot, putting food in their cars. So be careful, move as quickly as you can, get your butt in the car and get the hell out of there. If you think these panhandlers and these people that are desperate aren't going to be hanging around stores where people got food, you got another thought coming. They are going to be there. They are going to be there. It's just like those guys when I go shopping, they'll, ma'am, can I help you? You know, I'm just trying to get a few dollars. And you can see, some of them I can clearly see they're not in a good state. And I never had any problems, but you know, that can always change. You know, just be careful out there because, you know, these people are telling you to steal. I'm telling you to be careful and not get knocked over the head over your groceries. Because when people get desperate, they're going to be out in those parking lots and it's no telling what they're going to try to do. All I got to say is it just goes to show you how demonic this government really truly is. You got this going on, and Donald Trump is spending a freaking $1 billion building a goddamn ballroom that nobody needs. This man can't even dance, and he wants a ballroom that he is spending the taxpayer money on up at the White House. The White House don't need no ballroom. What you need a ballroom for? He's tearing down the work of our forefathers, y'all. Our forefathers built that White House, and he's ripping it down for some damn ballroom when that money could have been allocated right now to the people that need it. Yeah, I read, they gave $20 billion to Argentina and then turned around and gave them another $20 billion because Argentina was actually about to collapse. The hell with Argentina. Aren't they the country that killed their black people? The hell with them. I don't give a shit about no Argentina. Let them fall. Let their asses fall. So, yeah, no, I'm not going to tell my people to go out there and steal. I'm going to tell you to do whatever you have to do to make sure you can take care of your family. Even if you got to lean on a few of your relatives temporarily until this shutdown is over, do that. Go to your, the local church around here. In fact, there's a couple of them that I know. They serve one meal a day. You can go there and get a plate of food. It may be the only thing you'll eat all day, but you can at least go and especially the black churches around here, they got food kitchens and they just make food every single day, and you can go there and get one plate of food. I would recommend you do that before you go out here and steal. Okay, all these people that are going to like these white people on here telling you to steal, they going to go to jail. Yeah, you going to get some meals, but you going to be behind bars. Mhm. Yeah, so they recommend you steal instead of giving you alternatives. Yeah, around here, there are about 3 black churches that I know of, and each one of them serve a meal. And people go in there, because I see cars up there all the time. So people do go in there and get those plates of food, that they serve. Now, I don't know what they serve, but they go in there and get those plates of food. Mhm. So I know I don't recommend that, especially if you can get some help. Mhm. So y'all, this is not good, but I'm not surprised. Look at who's running things. So, and isn't this part of Project 2025? They believe that everybody's not worthy to live, and I don't think a demon is worthy to live. Okay, that's how I feel about them. And, they do want a certain part of the population gone, you know, or that crazy Stephen Miller crap where he wants it to be 100 million people. I said, well, then good. Start with yourself. Start with ending your own livelihood, buddy. Stop recommending that to other people. But yeah, Donald Trump, I saw the way, and I got my live stream coming up at 1:45 showing you how he has torn up the White House, putting on an unnecessary, wasteful spending ballroom. For real. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. I deeply appreciate our time together, and I will see you again at 1:45. Shalom, family.